now we're in Branson. We just finished the ghost tour of Branson Ghost and Paranormal, right?
Yes.
This is the owner and the main guide and the guy with the stories.
All right,
We just finished a really, really cool tour, and you've owned this for how long?
Made me think. Since January 2016.
Okay, and you worked here before that.
I worked here 4 years before that as a tour guide.
And on top of that, you guys have a ghost group.
Yes, we have Branson Paranormal. Branson Paranormal has been featured on the show A Haunting on 2 different episodes. Season 7, Episode 7, Child's Play, and Season 8, Episode 1 called Heartland Horror.
And apparently you guys have something pretty big going on tonight. Can you give us a real brief overview?
We're getting ready to go back out to the historic Honeymoon Hotel. Now, the Honeymoon Hotel is extremely haunted. We just done a documentary on this place. Very demonic. And I know with like my son Brandon, he's had some experiences. Brandon, you want to tell us a couple of your quick experiences? Or stuff that you know?
Right. Just a lot of attacks, a lot of the air there is really thick, and the possession, we were out there one night, and one of our team, or not a team member, but a team member's friend came along and got possessed. So.
When you say attacks, what kind of attacks are we talking about?
Anything as far as scratching, bites sometimes, and possession is the biggest one with the bed and breakfast.
And you was telling me earlier that somebody actually had tools thrown at them? What kind?
Saws, tables.
Tables? How big a
That's the
table?
report. Tables.
Wow.
That's the reports we've heard.
What do you think you're dealing with here, guys?
Demonic. Very strong demonic. Now, on the documentary, it will actually premiere on October 15th, 2015 at the Branson Parafest that we are holding.
16.
At
2016?
2016.
Yeah, all right.
Well, we had a Parafest 2015 too, but it's going to be actually aired at the Owen Theater, a haunted theater, so it's going to be kind of cool.
Sounds interesting. What else have you guys done? You say you've been like all over the country now.
I've been anywhere from Georgia to Iowa to Mississippi, Tennessee,
Florida.
on cases. No. We are going to Florida, actually going to do a small documentary on a place in Jacksonville here pretty soon.
So people have been calling you for help ever since the show came out.
Ever since The Haunting first came out, we've had calls from all over the United States. Thank God we have a sister group in Jacksonville, Florida, East Coast Paranormal Entity Profilers. They were actually part of the documentary. They've been a part of this whole thing from pretty much the get-go. And right along with our minister and demonologist, Joe Eater. He lives in Florida as well.
For the folks who didn't even know Branson had a ghost tour, the first thing a lot of us think of is hillbillies and the old Silver Dollar City style, and then a town that exploded in the 80s. And it's hard to think of anything in the middle where there could be hauntings. But what have you got here?
Well, what a lot of people don't know about Branson is we have a very dark, nasty history. A lot of people being murdered, robbed. Or some woman, I should say, brought a stroller over. She parked about right here with her 3-year-old child in it. She walked around, took 3 or 4 pictures. When she came back, she said it looked like her child was having a conversation. So she asked, "Who are you talking to?" The child replied, "I'm talking to Rory. Rory, R-O-R-Y. Hard name for a child to come up with." So we dug into the history. We found out in 1985 this was just an abandoned building. Napa Auto Parts had just moved out. And there was a lady by the name of Ina Court. She had worked about a block across the street at a car wash. She lived over in the town of Forsyth. Now, in 85, the carnival had come to Forsyth. And during this time, she had met the man that she thought was the man of her dreams. Now, she went back to the carnival and went with this gentleman. And then, she was never seen alive again. After 2 or 3 days, everyone's looking for her, asking, "Where's Ina at? Where's Ina?" So finally, the sheriff goes to her house, and they find her dead body where she'd been beaten to death with the baseball bat. Right next to her was her 4-year-old son, William Rory Court. Now, they both been beaten to death by this guy. Come to find out, this guy they met was a guy by the name of Tommy Lynn Sells. Some of you may or may not know that name. He is actually considered, he was called the Coast to Coast Killer. He worked for the carnival. And he would wait until the carnival was getting ready to move off. And he'd, make his kill. So by the time the carnival, people were looking for their basically body, he's long gone. And he done this for many, many years. You know how serial killers are. But when he talked about the Branson murders, of the court murders in the Branson area, he talked about, you know, what they had for dinner the night before, and a couple other things only the killer would know. So, I mean, Missouri knew it was him. And that fact, he was put to death on April 3rd, 2014 in the state of Texas. Had a lot to do with the Bald Knobbers and other murders that happened, you know, right around the Civil War era.
For folks who don't know, the Bald Knobbers were,
Vigilantes.
Bald Knobbers were basically vigilantes that, you know, basic vigilante justice.
so
The Ozark way.
they were going after people who the law could not touch or did not touch, or
Basically, there's a lot of people being murdered, robbed, and the sheriff wouldn't do nothing about it, so these guys decided, you know what, we will do it. But of course, that turned bad because these guys ended up getting too many of them, and then they started actually basically trying to kill everybody.
what kind of ghost stories do you have that we could talk about from the city, from your tour?
From the tour, we got the ghost of Rose O'Neill, which she haunts the Owen Theater. We have a young mother and child that were held and tortured at a location that we take people to. We also have the location that was featured on the show, Haunting. They talked about the Branson Ghost Tours and that particular location. We have the old morgue. We even talked a little bit of history with Branson about the fire that took place in 1912. But we also have stories about the train station to the Plum Bazaar, which is what used to be a saloon, and brothel.
And if you had to pick one ghost that is the most prevalent, the most interesting here, I'm not talking about your demon, of course.
What would you say?
Laura May is my favorite.
Laura Mae Mumsby, a little young lady that likes to go up and down a certain alley looking for her child. That was probably one of our favorite stories.
Okay. Can you give them a brief idea of what they might be coming for?
With that story.
Yeah.
Just with Laura Mae, she was a young mother she was 14, she was married at 17, she was married in an abusive relationship, and probably I would say after a while her and her husband had a lot of issues because he'd come in drunk and demand money, and when she wouldn't give the money, the fight started. One particular evening, he gets angrier and demands for the money or he's going to kill the baby. Long story short, the baby ends up dying, and then she ends up jumping out a window and killing herself. And that alleyway where that window was, or is, that's where they say that she likes to walk looking for her child.
And you've had some pretty cool photographs taken in that alley, right?
We have a full-body apparition in that alleyway, and it looks like a lady in an older dress. And this was supposed to have happened sometime in the 1920s, 1923, I believe.
And you're gonna have to come here to see the picture, because the picture is really, really cool. And you've got some books out also, right?
Yes, I have wrote 5 books. I wrote The Dark Craft, was my work of fiction. Then I wrote a book called House of Echoes, The Complete True Haunting, which was my family story that was on a haunting. And then I wrote Delivers from Evil, the Chris and Roseanne Cupid Haunting. That was episode 7, Child's Play, season 7. And then my newest, well, not newest now, but the next book I wrote was A True Haunting, or A True Exorcism, A Soul Held Hostage. That was the one that was on a haunting about the ghost tour here. And then my newest book is Branson Ghost and Paranormal Tours, the stories. It has every single one of our stories in that book.
Where can people get those books?
Here at the office in Branson, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million.
Any of them on ebooks, or are they all paper?
They are all on ebooks.
They are,
They
okay.
are all on ebooks except for the newest one, and that'll be on ebook by next week.
Okay. So you got the books, you've got some pretty cool ghost hauntings, and you've got a conference coming up. Busy, huh?
You want to talk about that conference?
Yeah.
It is Branson Parafest. We're gonna have speakers from all over the country. Come right here to Branson, October the 15th of 2016.
Can you give us a hint on who the
Ten,
speakers
it's gonna be
are?
it's gonna be $10 a head.
Okay,
Me and my other half, which isn't here tonight, Melissa, she is supposed to speak it with me. We will have Dan and Kaylee from East Coast Paranormal. We'll have Joe Eater from Eater Ministries, and Branson Paranormal, of course. And we'll probably have a few others in there
Cool.
somewhere.
We'll have some from northeast Louisiana
mm-hmm.
come up, so.
And do you all have a place where people can kind of keep tabs on that on the internet? A website or?
BransonGhost.com will be the new website.
Oh, okay, the
It should-
website's changed.
Yeah, it should be live here in the next week or two.
Okay, well then
Yes,
we'll hold
Branson.
off.
BransonGhost.com.
BransonGhost.com,
Yeah.
that's simple. You got 2 tours.
We have the 845 kid-friendly tour. With that tour, kids 12 and under are free. So you might as well make it totally kid-friendly. And then the 1015 is more the adult tour. It's what we call the Voices of the Dead. We play EVPs for people. We also do EVP sessions while we're out, and then when we're done, after the stories, we come in here and check out the EVPs.
And anything else you want to say to the folks who want to get here and take these tours? They're awesome.
Come on into Branson and just give us a call.
And a phone number for you?
417-334-7004.
All
Just give us a call and say you want to make reservations, and then be here 15 minutes ahead of time.
And you guys tonight are heading for?
Bed and breakfast.
Forsyth, Missouri.
So what's you got planned for tonight?
We're just taking some friends along. Just gonna play with it a little bit tonight.
You gonna be doing any cleansing or
Not
simply?
tonight.
Not tonight?
No, we're just gonna take some
gonna go
pictures and do a
harass.
couple EVPs, harass a little bit.
Well, if you're going to harass the demons, well, give me some film, all right? I want to see
We will
it.
do that.
All right, guys. All right. We'll see you on the next episode of Beyond the Shadows.